Hey, how's everyone doing? Yes. Welcome everyone to the first episode of Chump Chat. I am your host for the evening, Stormier Cashew, and tonight I'll be joined by some of the cast members of Chumps and Champions to discuss various things about the campaign so far, as well as other important things, such as Gurgle's favorite cheese. But that's for later. We gotta save that for later. We can't start with that. Joining me tonight, I have Marshy, who you all know and love, who plays Bo the Dragonborn Barbarian. We have we have Naphalam, who plays Gurgle the Cleric Goblin.
Hello.
And we have Thumbit, who plays Full the Goliath.
Hello.
So, but before we get into the hard-hitting questions and stuff, I'm going to go ahead and do a quick recap of the events so far, just so that everybody, including the audience and the guests with me today, are on the same page. So, but I mean, what am I kidding? Everybody's seen everything, so I mean, they don't need a recap because they're so loyal. But anyway, recap. You all started the journey in a town of Farhill, where you all, through different circumstances, joined the Ivory Crest, an adventuring guild. There you met an assortment of characters and had a short combat to show off some skills. The next day, short for some of you, the next day, you all decided to venture out into the town to obtain various supplies for your first mission, whatever it may be. While doing this, a local blacksmith named Tara asked you all to take care of a local gang known as the Rippers who had been spreading falsehoods about her and her business. To cut a very long story short, you all split up, a warehouse was set on fire, 2 gang members were killed, and the Rippers were dealt with. After all of this, you all had a drink with Tara and returned to the guild afterwards for your first quest, an escort mission for a noble leaving town. Mm-hmm. Well, that's funny you say that, because that was actually a question I had for all of you. So let's just go ahead and jump into that. So what were y'all's characters thinking while y'all were sitting back and watching the other characters do that? Or not your character specifically, but what were you all thinking as you were listening to what was happening outside of the warehouse?
I didn't hear any of it. No, I mean, I was basically what Bo said. As soon as we went back, I was thinking because like I honestly when I said that Fall and Bo were going to the pub, I was like, shit, man, we're gonna get into some stuff here. Like we're gonna be the ones getting combat. They're gonna come.
Sketchiest bar in town, right?
Sketchiest bar in town, the 2 big guys, and we've like jokingly taken the little guy along with us for like, oh come on, you're small.
Jokingly?
Oh no, but like it was
jokingly
for comedic value. It made you had to come with us, like, you know. It was perfectly comedic. It was perfectly funny. Like, come on, we got a lot out of it. And then it turns out that we didn't get in any trouble. And I mean, I kind of like tried to play that with Bo. Like when the bartender started talking about smoke, I was just playing it off like, yeah, no, it's not them. They won't have got in any trouble at all. Don't worry about it. That's kind of what I was thinking it was going to happen. So yeah, that would be me.
Gotcha. Well, what about you, Thumbit? You've been not fully quiet so far. I want to hear your input. What were you thinking while you were sitting at the bar?
Initially, before, like, when we decided to split the party the way we split...
Oh, his internet.
Oh, no.
No. We're back.
Well,
yeah, we might as well might as well jump in.
Yeah, go ahead, yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't know what I was expecting to happen. Oh, I feel so bad that he's crazy.
It's okay, we'll get him back soon.
He's in a really good pose right now as well.
He is. That's very Very flattering.
Ooh.
Yeah, he's just thinking. He didn't actually freeze. He's just thinking.
He just rolled a nat 1. It's fine. No, I wasn't expecting them to get into as much mischief as they did. I think like I was expecting maybe a little bit of confrontation, but I wasn't expecting them to just straight out kill someone. And it was funnier as well because like obviously 10 minutes into that episode, we're told by the guild leader, "Don't kill anyone you're not supposed to."
And then they kill someone they're not supposed to.
I'd actually forgotten that. In the game, I'd forgotten that. I mean, I assumed that we weren't supposed to kill anyone. And I had no intention of killing anyone. But until you guys until actually you pointed out, Stormy Akashi, until you pointed out in the chat, I was like, I hadn't thought about it. So yeah, I don't know. I'm glad I wasn't there because I might well have ended up killing them as well. No, we actually fully lost Rob. Let me yoink this over, move you back, and then we can carry on with a blank space for now.
Oh no, we only have.
Oh, and he's back.
Perfect timing.
Perfect timing.
Just as I'm messing with the overlays, that'll teach me, won't it? Yeah, I completely forgot about the murdering.
So what you're saying is that you wouldn't, if you all were in the same situation, then if the roles were reversed and they went to the bar and y'all were outside the warehouse, y'all don't think y'all would have killed anybody.
Bo knows his own strength.
Gotcha.
I don't know, as Marshy would have been particularly aware of non-lethal damage.
Oh no, I've played D&D once before, and I had to do non-lethal damage before in that. And
okay,
so,
cool.
Yeah, I do know non-lethal. Oh wow, Rob's really messing up this.
Don't worry about it. It's fine.
It's fine. Yeah, no, I know about non-lethal, and I would have specified it. And Bo, for sure, like in character, has beaten enough people up that he knows his strength. Like,
yeah. Oh, we're back again.
And
this
we're
is going
back.
really well.
Oh, and he's back. Hey.
I switched the camera.
Well, continuing on what we were talking about just before you joined back, I had asked them if the roles were switched and the other characters had gone to the bar and y'all were outside the warehouse, do you think that y'all would have accidentally killed somebody like they did?
Probably
I think Gurgle might have.
Really? Paul's been talking a big game about wanting to kill something. Are you really sure about that?
I mean, it's a matter of like...
You specified accidentally.
I did specify accidentally. I'll give him that.
It is, I mean, I probably would have gone with the intent to kill somebody if he absolutely had to. And I mean, I won't lie, because he has chainmail, his disadvantage on stealth, so he probably would have failed the stealth too that caused the fight. But I think...
Wait, he has disadvantage on stealth?
If you wear heavy... Yeah, if you wear heavy armor, you have disadvantage on stealth because it clinks and clanks and all that kind of stuff. I mean, you'd hear if a big ass dude was walking towards you in plate mail, you'd hear it.
Yeah, I know, fair. Like I get mechanically it makes sense. It's just like I'm gonna have to remember that one.
Yeah, yeah.
Next time I suggest that the party goes on a fucking stealth mission.
Yeah. Yeah, he just he's tiptoeing, and all you hear is just the jingling of his chainmail as he's just tiptoeing.
Like fucking Santa's sleigh rolling in.
I have efficiency and intimidation though, so if that helps.
Yeah, the jingles really help the intimidation.
Oh yeah.
Well, you said that if you got caught, you'd just be like, "You don't see me," and they'd be like, "Oh."
Yes.
I'm actually gonna pull up my character sheet because I feel like that might be a useful one to have up, just like for some of these questions. Maybe, I don't know.
Maybe. But I wanted to ask, because you actually touched on it a bit. I wanted to ask, I know a lot of y'all in the party don't have a super lot of experience with D&D, so I wanted to ask what all of y'all's experience was beforehand, just as like a baseline, like just so everybody knows what's going on and all that kind of stuff. So, all that just kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Let's start with you, Marshy, since you had already touched on it.
Yeah. So I have played D&D twice technically. So for my birthday 2019, I had my brothers over and a couple of other people, and we did a D&D session. My brother DM'd it, and it was like a one-shot, but he wrote it himself. I rolled a bird bard. He was an Aarakocra bard called Toki Toki. He spoke very, very fast all the time, and he was afraid of death. So that was his like main traits. He was fun to play. I was gonna play a barbarian called Bo actually, because that character's been bouncing around in my head, and then someone else was playing a barbarian in the group, and so I rolled up Toki Toki. So Bo has been in my head for a while, but like I listen to tons of D&D podcasts, so like I'm fairly familiar with the mechanics without having played it, and I've wanted to play I've wanted to be part of a D&D group for so long, as you can probably tell by the eagerness with which that I am.
You definitely sound like you're enjoying it so far.
Yeah.
What about you, Naf? What was your experience with D&D beforehand? You seem to be like one that's had a bit of experience with it.
I did like 2 sessions of Pathfinder, and then was trying for years to actually find groups and stuff. I found one the year before last. We did most of the Lost Mine of Phandelver together, changed the ending, did a few like attempts at other campaigns, and it didn't quite go through, and then I started DMing for some friends, so I'm doing that at the minute as well. And I basically just forced my way into this group, and I was like, please.
That's not true.
Please.
I would have pulled you in anyway. As soon as I heard about Gurgle, I was like, I want to have Gurgle in the pie.
Oh yeah, I did because that's the thing. It's very easy to come up with like. Sometimes it's really easy for me to come up with characters. Like we did with the campaign that I was part of. It was a case of we had the starter set character sheets, so I was like, I'll be the dwarf cleric, that's fine. And then I just wrote down the name Stavros, and I was like, Stavros Flatley, like the thing from Britain's Got Talent or whatever. And I went, no, he's called Stavros Gumpney, and he talks like this. And it all went downhill. It all just cascaded, and he was a reasonably decent cleric, but it was just funny. And then Gurgle happened. Mm-hmm.
What about you, Rob?
Yeah, so I've been into D&D since I actually got into college 4 years ago. And I mean, I started out with an Aarakocra sorcerer, actually.
I'm sensing a trend here.
Yeah. And then I've over the years I've played every class, most of the races, except I haven't played Artificer. That's the only class I haven't played.
Best class.
I've played every class. I really enjoy classes that don't use magic users, like magic. So when I was creating a character for this one, I was like, all right, I want someone who's going to hopefully be a really cool character who interacts a lot and actually does stuff, but isn't a magic user. Look at where that got me.
Hey, you still got plenty of time for character development.
But yeah, and then I came across Foal. I literally woke up one morning and I was like, I have it, a Goliath fighter named Foal, and that was the creation of my character.
Sounds good. Yeah, I've played with Ven. Ven was actually my DM back throughout the entirety of college. So and he was actually my first DM too, like my first proper DM.
Oh wow!
So I didn't realize.
Completely
oh my god! It was like night and day the first time. Like one of my friends back home, like DM'd. It was like night and day. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Not to like sully his name or anything as a DM, but it's just kind of like woof. But speaking of which, are y'all liking Ven as a DM so far?
Stupid fucking question.
No, I mean,
he's exceptionally good. He's
really good. Shit. No, he's really good, and he's honestly super inspiring because, like I said, I am DMing myself at the minute. So it's like picking up little things to sort of make characters their own. Because I've said it in like different chats and stuff, but he's a fucking chameleon. He just sort of will just sort of sit forward, and suddenly he's he's Rin. Ren.
Ren.
My brain. Ren. Yeah. And I'm like, what? How?
I think again, like I only come from a place where literally like so I've had one DM and the rest of it's all been from listening to podcasts which obviously have got famous because they have good storytellers telling the story. And so like my bar for a DM is like pretty fucking high, obviously, because like all of my experience of them has been like really good storytellers. And yet Ven is still like he takes you away on like into like a place. In fact, I sent my brother the first Chumps Champions episode, and he got 10 minutes into it, and he messaged back, and he just said, "Your DM is excellent." And I was like, "Yup." And he'd only heard all he'd heard was the world intro into like before we'd even spoken, just Ven doing his little monologue about Farhill, and that was it. And he was just like, "Yeah, your DM's brilliant." And I was like, "Yep."
I love, like, he can set a scene. Like, I DM too, and like one of the things I really excel at personally, I think, as a DM is like character building as well, and I take that a lot from him too. But I just can't. I'm not really good at describing a scene, not nearly as well as he can. Like his ability to give you theater of the mind is just unparalleled, in my opinion. But of course, I haven't listened to any of the other D&D podcasts or anything either, so I don't know.
I think it's made me. I've always kind of had like a couple of ideas of things that I want to do as like one shots or whatever that I want to do, and we're thinking about with the Tales of the Broken Table and stuff, and having maybe other people do DMing, and I think it's going to be a really cool way for all of us to kind of sort of show what he's taught us in a way. But it's also going to be. I'd love for him to be a character in a game that one of us runs. I'd love to see him. I'd love to see him character. Dive into one character,
he plays as a character in a campaign that our buddy Adam, TikTok Sailor, runs, and it's pretty nice.
Yeah, I bet.
But enough about Ven because he's not here. Let's get into the characters themselves and the process that y'all came to with making them. How much would you say that each of your characters represents yourself personally? If at all, doesn't have to.
I'll let someone else.
Part of the allure of fantasy is that it's fantasy and you can be whoever you want. So, but I'm gonna let Rob start with this one because he's normally been going last. So there you go, buddy. You're on the spot.
Well, I won't lie. When I created Full, I had the intention of making him as little like me as possible. I wanted to create just a completely different character, so I could literally like go into and become this character in a way that like it helps me better role play if I'm being someone that I'm not, and then I get to rolling, and over time, Full has become more and more like me with how clumsy he's become, or just the snide remarks that he makes, the relationship that he has with Bo of the frenemy thing, and all that stuff.
Which is great.
Yeah, I had that intention to make him a completely different person, and it just...
I mean, it really do be like that,
Yeah.
It really do be like that. But, you, Naf, what about you? I know it's kind of a weird question for Gurgle.
Well,
if he personally represents himself, but I guess, with nuance and all that kind of stuff.
He's like basic lizard brain, I think. I'm an overthinker, so I think one of the things that I like about playing characters who are like either not very intelligent or, well, he's not intelligent, he's just slightly dim, I suppose. But it's like I get to stop thinking for a while, and it's nice. I think that's part of why I do that. It's because whilst you can do that normally, it's like this is a valid excuse to just go and let my brain dribble out my ear and think about cheese.
Fair enough. We all need to think about cheese.
The cheese is very much like me, though.
We all need to think about cheese from time to time. I get it. And last but not least, what about you, Morshi?
It's tough because like a lot of obviously the backstory stuff is kind of hidden.
Secret. Classified.
Yeah, secret. And so like there's a lot of stuff I know about Bo that kind of relates to like me, but that you guys don't necessarily know. But like his general kind of like his general demeanor of wanting to like help out, like the way he like took on that the quest with Terra without really thinking of the consequences, without really thinking of like whether it could be done and things like that. That's the sort of thing that like I would do, and I think would, you know, I like that part of him, that part of like compulsively wanting to help people, but not necessarily really thinking through whether it's even possible and like how to do it, and like then getting stuck in a sort of shit, like what do we do, like how do we fix the fucking problem that we've made a problem even bigger for this person and now we have to fix it. I can relate to that.
We're helping people.
Yeah, I can relate to that. And like I think he's quite like outgoing and brash in a way, and I'd say like I'm not necessarily brash, but like I'm definitely outgoing, and like I like to I don't have quite the great voice, but I definitely like think that Bo definitely sees himself as kind of like an outgoing, like big personality, and I think like that's something that I sometimes have when I'm in a certain mood.
I gotcha. But speaking of Bo, what about that axe, man? You just gonna drop something like that at the end of the episode?
I was waiting on when to drop it, and it was just like, right, this is a good time, and that like
this is a great time.
Yeah, like so I was gonna hold on to that for a while, and I was trying to think of like how best to reveal that to everyone, because I spoke to Ven about it, and like I didn't really know when to do it. I kind of wanted to. I thought about doing it in the first episode actually, and just having Bo like kind of right at the beginning be, you know, maybe he would be shouting at his axe and like, or like whispering to it and like looking frustrated and wondering like why it wasn't talking back to him. But I thought that would be too early, and I kind of thought it was better to leave it for a little bit and just kind of offhand play it off like you just say, oh yeah, Liberty told me to come here instead. Yeah. And then I think after a battle, after like he's got to know people for a little bit, and after he's also 6 or 7 drinks in, that would be exactly the right time for him to just go, bam, this is why I'm here.
Yeah.
You know? All the cards on the table at this point, and like, I mean, not by no means are all the cards on the table still. Like, there's still a shitload that like no one knows, but like, yeah, yeah, I did think about it. I was thinking like how I wanted to do it. I wanted to drop it like right at the end of the episode as well, because I thought it was kind of like cliffhanger sort of thing.
But
yeah,
I'm just like I need to know more. I need to know more about that.
There will be more. But yeah. I want to know more about other people as well, so I'm probably like, I don't know, I'm likely to take more of a back seat on it for the next little while, and maybe, you know, if it comes up, then possibly, but like I don't want to reveal Bo's entire story before like we know anything about anyone else.
And it's time for the plot dump.
Exactly, yeah. Exactly right.
But you spoke about being comfortable with the group now. Speaking about that, Naf, Gurgle referred to the guildmates as a tribe at one point.
Yes.
So what would you say his feelings about his old tribe is? Does he like his guildmates better than his old tribe? Would he want to return to his old tribe at some point? Like, how's he kind of getting along right now?
I think like to him, his tribe is the most important thing to him. I think that's kind of obvious with the fact that he's comparing other things to it. So I think they're on par to him, though he gets cheese from this one, so that might give the current guild.
They're winning right now.
And melted cheese.
Yeah.
We just introduced the concept of melted cheese as well. Like,
that's true. Yeah,
just a
melted cheese
whole
with
new
dragon
level.
breath in it and spit and all sorts of things.
I mean,
yeah, I mean, he mentioned initially wanting, like, he was like, when can I go back? Because I was brought here. When can I go back? And it's like, well, whenever you want. But yeah, I think he's a bit unsure, but I think he knows he's sort of where he's supposed to be at the minute.
Fair enough.
I think
Fair enough. I like that.
I think that's kind of like what I'm saying with me putting down the axe and kind of saying my bit, and like that's kind of where like I do want to hear more about like Noth. So Gurgle has kind of thrown out that like he wanted to go back, and we didn't really press him too much on that because I think we were all pretty early on. There's obviously the fact that Drew or Elduin said that like we had the whole he's not supposed to be here, and that like needs to be resolved a lot. Ali keeps fucking like throwing out the fishing hook on the like, oh, my master sent me here, like she wants us to
my
ask her
general
questions.
sent me here.
Yeah.
What general? What army? Is there an army
But, like,
nearby?
we've all been pretty much like disinterested because there's been so much shit going on at the moment. So like I feel like and we don't know. We started to get a little bit into fall, I think. But yeah.
There was
Also,
that little bit whenever we were talking about backstory that I kind of felt like at this point folk still hadn't really done much, but I mean can start with that character backstory progression in a way, and I did reveal his one friend that pertains to his backstory without really revealing anything. But yeah, no, that's really all that you guys have so far because you haven't really had the chance to interact with Foal as much.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, to play into what we were talking about with them being more comfortable with their guildmates right now, considering Foal has been so quiet and reserved lately, is he still like unsure about all these people, or do you think he's slowly warming up?
So that's something that I've had to think about for Foal too.
He has had multiple fails in front of him at this point now.
Yeah.
Much to the derision of a certain barbarian.
Yeah.
Bo would not be quite as chatty if things had gone wrong for him as well. He's quite happy because things are going well for him.
He is a 7-foot tall Goliath fighter.
Mm-hmm.
And they tend to have quite a presence with them, so whenever he continues to mess up and fail at things and not hit things and get knocked down and all that, it kind of just takes away from him being this huge guy with this big shield on, and so it's just hard to build any exposition whenever you literally can't do anything. But I mean, at the moment, I would say that Foal has to be kind of quiet and reserved because he doesn't feel like he's done much for the members of the guild that he works with. So
I kind of feel like I would have been like that if it had been the other way around and Bo had got beaten the fuck out of in the first battle by you and then had failed like in the fights and you'd been taking the glory. Bo would have never have fucking put his axe down and said, this is where I'm from. He feels like he's the big guy in the group at the moment, so he can like, he's quite arrogant and brash about like wanting to show like where he's from, like tell you all more about him. If things weren't quite as rosy, if he was still like thinking, do I belong here, like why aren't I like performing to my usual standards and stuff, I think it'd be too introspective to do any of that sort of stuff. So I think I can understand that. I can definitely see that as a character trait.
Gotcha. And to speak about, Bo being a bit more chatty because he ended up winning that, he's kind of assumed this sort of leader role at this point. And it's sort of kind of not like official leader, but he's kind of like a pseudo leader. He takes charge and, conversation and everything. So what do you think his feelings about being a leader is?
It depends how much backstory you want to go into. Bo is...
Probably not.
Let me not do it. Without doing any backstory. Bo is not a natural leader. However, he has in the past found himself in leadership. That's
gotcha.
About as much
skirting the line as we can get.
Yeah, without like going into too much. I think honestly, I don't think. When did he start? He only really started taking charge of anything at the end of the second episode, when he basically was like, what the fuck have you guys done?
When he was like, you guys can't do anything.
Because like up to that point, in the shops and stuff, when we were going shopping and stuff, like basically Bo was just looking for a fucking pub. So I don't think he was taking. It was only really when like things got messed up, and he was like, we might actually be
Crisis mode, let's fix it.
Yeah, exactly. He kind of went into crisis mode, let's fix it. Also, like, what the hell are you idiots doing? Like, have you never done this before? Like,
we were the ones drinking. How did you mess it
yeah,
up?
basically, like, it was more, it wasn't like a natural, like, he's the leader of the group, and more like, clearly no one else is going to fix this fuck up, so I need to do it.
Gotcha.
And like, yeah, I think that was, I guess, out of the people who went to the pub, I suppose Bo was kind of in charge, but again, partly because Foal was quite quiet up to that point, and Gurgle, I don't think would be. It would have been a weird choice for us to go and me and Foal stand behind Gurgle and say, "Go on, Gurg."
Little goblins.
It would have been fucking hilarious, but also pretty out of character.
What are y'all's thoughts
to
about?
a degree, goblins are what I go on the fact that goblins are quite a subservient like race generally, because usually if something bigger shows up, they sort of go with it. He's not used to that exactly, but he's in a new environment, so he's very much trying to take cues from those around him. So he might get more outspoken.
Yeah.
If he gets a chance, he might come out of his shell and try and boss everyone around a bit. I mean, he tried with the decision on the job, but it didn't work. So
that was actually. I'll let you. I'd like to talk about the decision stuff as well at some point if we have time. But I'll obviously defer.
If you want to right now, go ahead.
I mean, all I was going to say is I haven't listened back to it yet, but like listening back to it, I think that we made the right choice for Bo, but like I'm not sure I necessarily made it for the right reasons, and like. Yeah, I need to kind of work out exactly what reason he would have been more wanting to do that job, if you know what I mean. Like, I kind of said that it was because he was sent here by Liberty to do, like, obviously something, and it wasn't probably delivering post. But, like, I think that that's a reason not to do something, not a reason to do something. And I think Bo doesn't take action without there being a reason for it, rather than it being the only choice. Do you know what I mean? So like I kind of need to work out a positive reason for doing it as opposed to a negative reason against doing the other stuff. And like,
fair enough.
Yeah. So I wasn't entirely like, looking back on it, I wasn't entirely like happy with how that played out from my perspective, from like me playing the character. So I'm gonna try and have to think about that one a bit more and like how I justify that to myself. But yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, how did the rest of y'all feel about the decisions as far as what quest y'all are gonna go on next? Which is the one where you escort a noble out of town to somewhere else.
Gurgle's not happy about it.
Why is he not happy about it?
Well, because it's the tribe mentality thing. He's considered they've been helped by Maella.
Yeah.
I'm so bad at names. That's why I write them all down, and my book is all over the shop. So he considers him like an extension of their tribe, and yet everyone's decided to help someone they don't know do something, and he's like,
so there's like a conflict.
Why would we do that? There's like there's history there to be unraveled.
That makes sense. And Foal had expressed interest in wanting to go to the mountains. So,
yeah, and that's part of, being a Goliath, being mountain born. He's just used to that kind of area. And while he's not particularly from a mountainous area, as we learned in episode 1, he is still a Goliath, so he still holds that heritage and tradition of naturally being like okay with mountainous areas and colder temperatures and that kind of stuff. But I mean, that's part of the reason that he wanted to go up and do that quest with the fetching, because it was up in his natural like habitat per se.
Gotcha. Sorry, I'm just reading chat right now, so I'm just
You're
laughing to
fine.
myself because I hadn't actually been keeping up with this
Shrimp,
entire time.
shrimping, yeah.
Yeah, I know, right? Y'all are too kind. But so
Sorry.
oh, go ahead.
One thing I was gonna say is I have no doubt that all 3 of those quests would be incredible because Ven has got a plan for all of them. So like when we were doing the vote, I was like, this is so low stakes because if my thing doesn't come up in character, I can play annoyance, but like out of character, I don't give a fuck. Like I really don't care. I would have happily done any of them because. Yeah, I'm sure that like what we've like. I didn't think that a shopping episode was going to be a 2-part, like incredibly fun, almost 7.5 hours of like really good fun that it turned into.
Mm-hmm. Always got to have a shopping montage.
So you know, I defer all of my judgments and all of my like, worries to the fact that like Ven has carried everything so well.
Gotcha. Well, I think it's time for our one of our certified hard-hitting questions of the night. Noff. What is Gurgle's favorite type of cheese?
Oh shit! This is the big one.
It is the big one because Gurgle's literally only ever had 3 types of cheese, and those are the ones he just bought. So he's only actually eaten one of them.
So tier list of the 3 cheeses he's had so far.
Which ones has he had exactly? Hang on.
Well, from my description of it, the only one he's actually eaten anything of is the one that is similar to mozzarella.
Okay. Cool.
So
has he been nibbling in the background?
He's been eating the cheese because when we got to the pub, he only had 2.5 pounds of cheese left of the 3 that he bought. So he's eating half a pound of mozzarella. So really, he should be he's not going to be a little boy for long. He's going to be having serious issues in the bathroom, probably.
One thing I will say,
roll for lactose intolerance.
When it's come to that and like going anywhere with Gurgle, in my mind, when I'm thinking about like walking to that area with Gurgle, I just picture this little goblin walking behind these 2 ridiculously tall guys. Just munching on cheese, not paying attention, and like dragging behind because he's so distracted by the cheese. It
was why it was when Gurgle was undecided about whether he'd go, I was like out of character, just desperately thinking he has to come with us. Like he has to come with us. Yeah. Like
he's coming.
Yeah,
he's coming with.
It's too good.
But yeah, I assume Gurgle's idle animation is just eating cheese. Just nibbling on the cheese.
Eating summer, like I mean, he left when they left to go shopping. He had pockets full of bread, so you know.
That's actually a good question. Has Gurgle been full yet?
No, I don't know. Probably not.
Oh, okay, good.
Well, he seems like a grazer so far, so he's just kind of like always just kind of picking at stuff. I don't think he's ever actually had like a meal.
He had full meals. Probably the first time he had full meals was at the guild tavern, because you know that's just the environment he's been in, and he was like, oh, "Wait, this is all mine. I can have all of this in this bowl." I was like, "Yeah." But even so, he's been sharing with his rat friends. So
yeah,
rat friend,
but yeah,
rat friends.
He's got 2.
Oh,
you got 2?
Shit, I didn't know that.
Wait,
are they both deities?
As far as he knows, only one talks.
Oh, okay.
Oh wow, sorry. This is like that's the first like new information I think that's been like revealed to me, at least. I had no idea that he had 2 rats. Shit, now this episode has to be canonical.
Yeah.
You know, thinking about that too, I think we have 2 or 3 party members that have something that doesn't usually talk to them.
So we have...
Because I don't know about Evelyn and his lantern or anything, but I mean, I assume that maybe he's been told something by it, or I don't
like
know.
everybody
We don't
in
know
the
that for sure.
like everybody in the party has like a MacGuffin,
Yeah.
which is not
Actually,
a bad
yeah,
thing.
yeah. With the exception of Fall, right?
Ah.
That we know
That
of.
we know of.
That you know it. You really like, and this is part of the reason that like I'm kind of upset with the way that I've rolled lately and the inability to full actually do some stuff because
Yeah.
as of right now, you guys have no idea
That's
what brought full to the guild. So
and the thing is that like there is so much time that we can
There's
like
literally
yeah.
infinite time.
So like yeah, I'm
Like,
looking
y'all are-
forward to it.
Y'all are gonna be traveling next episode too, so like literally, it's like while y'all are traveling, y'all just talk until you're done talking. And he's like, "All right, y'all are there," you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's the
Talk
thing.
as
Like
long as you want.
I've never done like a travel episode
Yeah.
like that, so
At least
I'm looking forward
that's
to
the way. That's the way I normally do it as a DM. I'm like, "All right, y'all are gonna be traveling on the road. Is there anything you want to talk about? That kind of stuff."
I think
Unless they're
probably a good time for exposition and stuff there.
I
Yeah.
think as well one thing that Mike said post, and I'm sure like no one will care about this being shared here. Mike said post, and I definitely think it as well. I said post the last episode, like he enjoys the fact that he can sit back and we can have a conversation between the six of us that flows naturally in character, and like so I'm looking forward to doing that with the next one, and yeah, like you say, being able to kind of just have however much conversation we need to have, know that like there's not going to be awkward silences because we're good at doing our role play and stuff. So like yeah, I'm
And we
excited.
never shut up.
Well, and that's perfect because like it means that we can make a fucking fun episode out of nothing. Like
I would just like I do want to point out like obviously something you've been mentioning the fact that Fall's roles have not been playing to you very well. Then, as pointed out, they play them to your advantage. I think really playing with the roles you get sometimes. Marcy, what are you doing?
nothing.
what's he doing?
I was
Oh,
turning you
you
down
in
a
my
bit because you're
face.
peeking a tiny bit. Sorry.
Sorry, it's opening menus. Because it's. I think sometimes it's better to have terrible rolls. I mean, like the fact that I got a nat 20 and then I was like, actually, Gurgle's drunk. Should I re-roll? And then got like a 4. And that it's funny. I mean, the guard that fell over and ended up being a ramp. Like, there's all these things that you can do with like what is essentially a crap roll, because no roll is actually a crap roll unless it kills you. And I think Fault's great, to be honest. I think we've got great characters, and
He's got a lot of potential. And that's what I like
And
about him.
onto
The moment
About
you
the-
the moment you like do a like what would be perfect is that like next time we get in a fight, if you could just fucking crit like burst time, and that moment will be like, oh shit, this guy. So like it's all part of character building.
yeah,
Think of like the gnarliest how you want to do this that he could possibly do,
Yeah.
and just save that.
Yeah.
Just save it.
And one thing I will say, back to the whole situation with the guard that fell over and that kind of stuff. When it, ooh, I just threw my glasses off my face. Told you they don't. fit
how
on
did
my
that
face
even
anymore.
happen?
They don't fit on my face anymore. They're just kind of hanging out. But anyway, whenever that whole thing with the guard happened and Full watched Gurgle climb onto the guard, Full literally, like, genuinely thought, like, can I physically, like, do that too? That, I mean, it helped Gurgle, so it might as well help me. And all that, like, it's just those kinds of split-second decisions when it comes to my roles too, because, I mean, you know, Full recognized that he hadn't done well for most of the stuff that happened previous to that, so he was like, well, if I do this, I could get over easier and not have to worry about any trouble happening and that kind of stuff. So I do kind of enjoy playing the roles to my advantage and thinking, all right, he's done really bad so far, so what's he going to try to do to fix that?
It's going to be interesting to see what happens the first time. Like, I don't think Bo has had, like, a big fail yet. Like, a big fail. He failed to hit you... He failed to hit Gerald a couple of times in the fight, but, like, it wasn't a big deal.
Yeah, but to be fair to Bo, Gerald is, like, a high-level spell.
Yeah, and you were scared.
So. Yeah.
But like, yeah, so I think he's failed a little bit, but with no stakes on it. It's going to be interesting that when he does, and like how that affects his, because like at the moment he has a good standing in the group where like he's kind of felt a bit like, I think he's kind of felt a bit like untouchable because everything he's tried has kind of come off. Apart from like convincing the guard, but even then it was nothing happened. Like he didn't get any like.
It was just like okay.
And I feel like Mike was pretty close on that one. Like we'll never know how close. Like when Bo was trying to convince the guard to let him go into the warehouse. Like that's really the closest to a fail, but like even that didn't have any consequences. So like when Bo fails, it's going to be interesting because it's going to happen.
Careful.
I can't.
You're giving Van ammo for you now. He's gonna like rip you a new one. I can't wait for
he can
get a crit, and then he'll be like, "So how do you want to do this?" And he goes, "Oh, I guess I'll stab him."
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
stick him with a point.
He just falls over. I just look at him. He falls over.
Really good.
Yeah, no, like really good though.
Yeah, and what I will say to that is, if Full does get that opportunity to, say like, you know, gets asked the question, how do you want to do this? He will more than likely look at Bo as he's doing it.
Apparently we have to come up with something different to how do you want to do this.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, branching off of that, do y'all have your first ones prepared?
For like how I want to...
Yeah, how you want to do this. I mean, I know some of it's kind of like contextual, but like, you got like a small idea of like, well, how do I want to end
I mean, I
fight?
smashed a guy's fucking teeth out last one.
Oh yeah.
That was
next one. Sorry.
That was probably the closest, but like I don't know. I think it's contextual, and
yeah, it is pretty contextual.
It depends. Yeah, I think because I think I want to play into like the rage sort of stuff where like I don't want to plan out too much because that's not very ragey. If you're
fair enough.
You know, if you're a raging barbarian, you're in a rage. I think like it has to be kind of off the cuff a little bit, or at least it has to look off the cuff. That's how I want to play it. Put it that way.
Fair enough. Yeah, I can't wait for the scene where in the background, Bo is slipping on a banana peel while Full is deleting a person.
Yeah, and Bo's just like looking up while he's like slipped on the floor, just like shit.
Mid-fall. Dude getting atomized. But yeah, so we got just a little bit of time left so far, and I've prepared way too many questions for this. So let's just go with a simple, another hard-hitting question, actually. Coke or Pepsi?
Pepsi.
In character?
100%.
Up to you.
Pepsi.
Coke.
Still Pepsi.
Pepsi both ways? Gotcha.
Yeah. Coke for me.
Gotcha. All right.
For Bo.
Gotcha. All right. Well, I mean, you know,
this
Bo is red.
Brought to you by... No.
No. But actual question I wanted to ask was, is there any favorite NPCs that your characters have so far?
Henry Dale.
Yeah, Henry Dale. Yeah, I can't wait for him to come back.
Yeah, that's mine.
Gotcha.
I mean,
they're all good.
I mean, they're all pretty good, but I mean, has anyone like really stood out to like what of y'all is like, damn, that's a good NPC?
I think is this in character or out of character kind of?
Oh yeah, I mean,
however you want to answer it. I wrote it as in character, but whatever's easier for you to talk about.
So for Full, really, he hadn't had much of an interaction with any of the NPCs that he'd met so far, until he really sat down and, you know, had a drinking contest per se with Terra. And Ali just said in the chat, if y'all don't say Terra. But I mean, at the moment, Full kinda thinks that Terra's a really cool person. I mean, literally outdrank him and caused him to get super drunk. So
You gotta
he's
respect
more
that.
like this is another person I have to compete with now. So
Oh yeah, and like you're not winning that competition. If you're competing for affection in the party, fucking you've lost, man.
oh
that,
no,
that
not
ship has
competing
long
for
sailed.
perfection by any means. No, it's more of like a competitive, like with what Foe and Bull have, kind of this understood competitive rivalry.
Foe and ball.
Hey, do you
I
blame
wasn't
him
gonna
for
pick
wanting
up
to
on
try?
that.
Oops.
Do you blame him for wanting to try? Because if you win that, you get to flirt with Ven. Oh,
I know, right?
so
Yeah, but we want Fall and Bo to we ship Ball and Foe.
are we officially shipping them?
Those
Wait,
are
so
our
you
ship
have to
names.
I don't know.
Uh,
That's a long way.
the long way. No, in character, I would say probably Christen.
Gotcha.
Because he feeds Gurgle and Gurgle likes food. But
enough.
I think Terra has really stood out.
I mean, we've given him the deepest chance to dive into Terra as well,
Yeah.
for sure.
Did you have to say it like that?
Oh.
Oh no.
And moving on. Okay. Just a quick little question for Knopf. Does Gurgle like Bo calling him young Gurgle?
I don't think he cares. I think he would answer to literally anything. He'd just be like, "Oh, you," and he'd be like, "Yeah, what?"
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
just I didn't even mean it. It just trips off the tongue so well.
No,
Like I don't know.
He's your boy, young Gurg, ain't
Oh
he?
yeah, Gurgle.
Hey,
I
young
don't know
Gurgle.
if you've, I don't know if you've noticed it or anything, Knopf. Full actually hasn't called Gurgle this whole time. And
What
I
else
mean,
is
of
he
course,
called?
he's only had very little times to say it, but he's called you little one. Yeah.
Fair enough.
That's actually I hadn't thought about that, but like, thinking back on it, yeah, you do. Who's the strongest chump? Like Bo.
Yeah, who's the strongest? Like physically strongest, like in real life. Like I'm just kidding. How much do you bench?
I don't know what a gym is.
Yeah, I don't.
Not right in the arms.
Strongest Chump is Allie.
Probably.
Probably. Yeah. She probably.
I
Yeah.
would kick the shit out of us.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's fair.
At the same time.
Yeah. Well, we know when we'll beat at least.
But
To be fair,
Alright,
we'd also let her. Like, even if she couldn't generally, we'd probably
This
just
is
let
this
Ally
is
beat the
slightly
crap
off
out of us.
topic now.
Yeah.
it's all right. It's all right. But I think that's what we're gonna call it. If that's because we're right at an hour now, right?
We could do one more to get to an hour.
One more.
Yeah.
One more.
Yeah,
Okay.
if you've got
Let's-
one that you can pull out, yeah, we can do one or two more.
Have you got any quickfire questions?
I don't have a whole lot of quickfire ones. I got
we can do a
one
dive
more.
in. We can do a dive in.
So, kind of saving that one for the next one. I got one for Bo actually. So most of the time, Bo comes off as like a thick-skinned like warrior, but when he's around Acorn, we see a completely different side of him. Is it because Acorn is just adorable, or does he have some deeper attachment to Acorn specifically?
So he doesn't have any deeper attachment to Acorn specifically in terms of the fact that like we've never met before. Like there's no backstory wise. I can tell you that like there's no like backstory wise. He is so like I've already revealed this. He's a soldier. So when I was talking to the soldier, he and I said to him like I'm a soldier too. That was legit. Like that was true. That wasn't like a bluff thing. He was a soldier. And
I didn't. I see. I didn't know that. I took it as like kind of like a hippie. Like, yeah, I'm a soldier too, man.
Yeah, no. So that's legit. That's true. And his like tough exterior definitely comes from that sort of thing. He would have an attachment to, like so when he first saw Acorn and his immediate reaction was to speak to it in Draconic. And say like, reminds me of a young me, which was a bit dumb, I know, but like, it kind of that kind of it does belie the fact that like he does have an attachment to like other people like him, for reasons that will probably become more and more apparent as we go on and discover more about him. But like, yeah, it's definitely like what you've seen so far of like him having that attachment to Acorn, that protectionism over Acorn, is probably down to that sort of stuff as well. Yeah.
Gotcha. So let's just go ahead and get one more good one in there. One that I can ask.
We got like 3 minutes till we hit an hour, so we've got a little.
Yeah,
bit
I'll get one more good one in. This one should eat up some time too. For all of you, does your character believe people are inherently good or evil, and do you feel the same? And we're gonna start with Knopf on this one.
I had a question on this question, just quickly.
Yes.
Do you mean that they are one or the other, or that they are inherently good, or that they are based on their circumstances, one or the other?
Like I'm thinking of it more as like a born good, born evil.
Okay, cool, that's fine. Yeah,
kind of mindset.
That's a good question. Okay, yeah.
But
sorry, I just wanted to. Yeah.
So we'll start with Knopf.
I think Gurgle in particular, he sees good in everyone because he thinks that everyone works to the same goal. Like everyone does stuff to benefit everyone in their tribe.
Yeah, going back to the tribe mentality, yeah.
But he's learning that's not necessarily the case. As for myself, I don't think. Well, I mean, its environment as well as innate, isn't it? It's a deep rabbit hole to go down in actual reality. Some people are predisposed, but who's to say how?
Fair enough. Rob, let's hear your input on this question.
Yeah, so this actually kind of this is a really good question because while you guys don't know anything about it, it is a question that kind of ties into my backstory, so I'm not going to go too into detail with it. But with like how Full has lived his life up to this point and the actions that have occurred throughout his life, he would probably lean more in the way that people are inherently evil. And I mean, that's another reason that he has a hard time opening up to the group mostly and stays quiet, is because, you know, probably has a little bit of trust issues and has a hard time actually like getting to that point where he trusts people actively. But yeah, no, this question really falls into his backstory, and I don't want to go into that yet.
Fair enough. Yeah. Fair enough. I didn't plan on that. I didn't intend on that. Fair enough. But what about you?
I think
Marshy?
I think similarly, like there's parts of Bo's backstory that would lead him to think one way or another, but he probably believes that people can be born evil in the sense that they can be born into circumstances which mean that there is no way they can come out as anything other than evil. But he would maybe believe that a person could be born into those same circumstances and be a different person and they would still come out evil.
By that, does he believe that people cannot change as well?
Like, yeah, again, that would be another thing that like would probably. Yeah, probably. I think he probably would, based on his backstory. But like, he'd think that like it would require like a seismic shift in like their person's circumstances, something that it's actually something I believe myself as well. That like people pretty much, in my opinion, don't change like their overarching like philosophy until something deeply impacts them and deeply affects them.
Hard rock meets a hard place.
Yeah, until something forces them to reconsider like their deep-seated beliefs, and that like actually rocks them to their core, makes them reevaluate their whole life, and then that's how people change. Other than that, it's all very gradual. But like for big systemic, like massive change in a person, I think it needs to be like something deep and personal that really hits them hard. And like this is, yeah, that's something that Bo would definitely agree. And I think if we're going back to like the question of like what in your character, what represents you in your character, that 100% represents me. Like that's something I really deeply believe. And you'd have to something deep and emotional would have to convince me otherwise.
Gotcha.
Basically.
But let me actually extend that second part to the rest
Yeah,
of y'all. So, like, does your character, like, do they believe people can change if they are inherently that certain way? Do you think they can change, or do you think they're set?
I don't think
For the most
Gurgle knows.
Fair enough.
Marshall.
What?
Oh, it's
Oh.
really hard to answer this question without. Really
Sorry, I keep forgetting. I
No,
can't.
you're fine,
I'm
you're
sorry.
fine. It's not your fault by any means, but like
I didn't intend for this to happen like that. I apologize.
I'd say right now, without you knowing anything about his backstory, he'd probably say no. People don't change. They are inherently bad people, and they don't change.
Okay. Gotcha. Well, before we spoil any more of Full's backstory, I think that's what we're going to call it for the night.
It's really hard.
Yeah. Thank you all for joining the first episode of Chump Chat. This is a show that we're going to be running bi-weekly, correct? Is that correct, Marshy?
The plan is to do for the first episode, because we have obviously 3 episodes to discuss. We have like a load of backstory and like character creation stuff to discuss. So the plan was to do half of us this week, half of us next week, and then from this point onwards, it'll be a rotating panel of 3 of us, maybe more though on some weeks, and it'll be on the Wednesday before a Chumps and Champions episode. So the idea is that we do a recap, we get everyone back into the mood, and then you only have to wait like 2 days or 3 days before the next episode comes up. So it's actually good for us then as well, because like I know that like coming into an episode, I want to be pretty fresh on what's gone on too. So like yes. I think that's the way we're planning on doing it. Yeah, the Wednesday before the Saturday's Chump Chat. Sorry, the Saturday's Chumps and Champions.
So to bounce off that, our next Chump Chat will actually be this upcoming Wednesday at a slightly later time, 7 p.m.
Yep.
And from now on, when we do Chump Chat, it will be at 7. We started a bit earlier for this one just because of scheduling. But for the most part, we're going to try and hit that 7 p.m. on Wednesday time slot. And I believe after that, we're going to be moving back to the bi-weekly. Yep. It's just, again, we have so much we want to cover for the first few episodes that like we're doing one back-to-back. As far as other announcements goes, Chumps and Champions, if you haven't followed the channel so far, please hit that button. Find us on Twitter, YouTube. You can join a Discord. Do we have a Discord for us specifically yet?
No, at the moment it's all going in mine, but if it gets big enough, then we will absolutely move it to the same place. At the moment,
so no Discord yet.
No,
but definitely yet. Twitter and YouTube. Hit that up. Next episode of Chumps and Champions is going to be on Saturday, February 20th, and this is very important. It's going to be on the Chumps and Champions official channel. It's no longer going to be on Marshy's channel. It's going to be on the official channel. So if you want to see it, click that follow button so you don't miss it.
If you accidentally go to my channel, it will be hosted, but like you won't get a follow notification, so make sure you click the follow button. We're trying to get 50 followers as well for the next episode to go out, so that you guys can have like personalized emotes and all that shit. Like maybe there'll be an acorn emote. Who knows? Maybe
there'll be a Gurgle cheese emote.
So like, yeah.
And I do want to add too, we do have various social medias. We have a Twitter, we have Twitch, that's what this is on. And we have a TikTok, which will be putting some content out on a later date, some clips and stuff, and that kind of stuff. So,
and I will say, I believe there's a command in chat where if you type in like it's what is it, Chumps, where you can like see everybody's tag.
Up on this channel? I did not.
I know it's on your main channel. Okay, well. There will be in the future where if you type in !Chumps, it'll list all of the cast members and all of their various Twitch spots.
Yeah.
And considering our next Chump Chat is going to be next Wednesday, if you have any questions that any of you in the chat would like answered, please make sure to join Marshy's Discord. There is a specific channel or a chat channel in that Discord labeled as Chump Chat. And if you'd like a question answered on the show, please write it there, and it will be under consideration.
And you can tag, if you want to ask it to a specific character or a specific set of characters, you can always tag us in those questions as well, so that Marshall knows, because like obviously you don't necessarily want to ask the same questions to Bo, as you might to Gurgle, like, Bo, what
Yeah.
color is your axe? I'm asking Gurgle.
Gurgle. What's Liberty like on the weekends?
No.
But yeah. So that's all the announcements and stuff I have so far. Is there anything else y'all want to cover, or do you think we all covered it?
I think we've done a great job, guys. I think we've,
All right.
we've hit everything I wanted to hit.
Thank you for joining us for the first episode of Chump Chat, everybody. I've been your host, Stormer Cashew, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you all so much for joining.
Yes, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.